Hi, I'm Jeff Smith, the author of Tack Tracker. Today I'm going to show you how you can split a race session into multiple races. Now, you might want to do this if you've recorded a live race session that lasted an afternoon and there are actually several races sailed, as in this example I'm going to show you. And this is quite common because it may be that before the race session begins, when you're setting up the live race, you don't actually know how many races will be run and when the start times will be. It may be that you're going to be busy doing other things and you can't manage the live races as they're actually being run. So here I have a race session for Yinglings that was run on the 29th of October, and you can see that there's no actual course or marks or start times defined. It's just one long race session. And if I actually look at what's happening, I can see that the boats are going up and down and running several races. So, for example, this is a start scrum. The race has started. Off they go up to a mark, back to what looks like a gate mark, up to the mark again, and then finish. And there's three of these races. There's another one. That's one starting at about 2:30, up and back, up and back, and then finishing. So 3 races in one race session. Let's split them into several races. So what we're looking at here is the web player, and to split our races, what we're going to do is go into the desktop player. In this case I'm using Tack Tracker for Windows. I'm already logged in. I'm just going to go to the Cloud Races tab and load in that race we're looking at. Here it is. So while the race is loaded, I'll click the Create Races button, and that brings up the Create New Races dialog. So we'll fill out the details here. Let's call it Yingling Mini Race, and then the race number will be appended. We're going to add 3 races, and you can see as I add the races I have these bubbles here on the timeline, and I can drag these along to roughly where I think the races are going to start. But to fine-tune it, I need to use the timeline down here, and you can see as I drag the timeline I can see when the boats are actually starting, which is about here. So this is for the first start at 12:40, so we click that, and that sets the current timeline into the race. So let's go to the second start now, and we'll just we'll come back to the beginning, we'll drag the boats around. Okay, we're up to start here. That's about 1 there. So let's set that race to start to about that time, and finally the last start here. So again, let's drag the boats back to the starting scrum, which is here. You can see them running up and down before the start line. It always looks like that, and then off they go. So at about that point, if I want to zoom in to see it a bit more closely, that also might help me. Just pick the point, and I can also use these buttons to just step the boats through if I want to get it accurately to the right spot. Okay, so I think it's about there, and I'll click the Set Race 3 Start. So now I've set the 3 start times, and you can see these bubbles are spaced out at the actual start positions. These flags at the end indicate the beginning and the end of the track, and you can see I've got quite a long track for race 3. If I drag the mouse along, let's now zoom out again, you can see what's going to happen is the boats are going to end up going home at some point. And I'm not really interested in preserving those parts of the track in the race. So if I look at the time here, it's 3:45, and you see the track here is going to an hour after that. So if I drag this flag back, I can keep the track constrained to the interesting period. Alright, so the next thing is to add the course and the marks. So I'm going to go back to the first start, and I'm going to click Add Course and Marks. Now when we were looking before, we saw that the course was, we go to mark 1, and then we go to a gate mark, we'll call it, 2, and then back to 1 again. You can see I've used that before. I click Apply. We can see those marks have appeared, and I'm also finishing through the start line in this case. So I have to lay the start line and those two marks. Alright, so we'll zoom in a bit. Now, if we again drag the boats along the timeline, we can see roughly where the start line is. I'm not going to be too fussy at this point. We'll just assume the start boat is there and the start pin is about here. We can also see where mark 1 is from this track. Let's put it there. And the gate mark 2-2. Well, I can't quite see where to lay that yet, so I'll drag the boats up, bring them down. We can see that one's turning there and that one's turning there. So again, if we select 2-2, we've got a gate mark here and here. And I can just look at that again. That looks fine. Alright, so save and close and create my 3 races. It saves those races to the library, and we're getting back into the track loader from where we started, and we can see all our tracks are now matching the original race plus these 3. I'm just going to select these 3, and I'm going to save all the tracks now to those races. So I remember I only selected 3 tracks originally. I've now saved all the tracks into the races. Okay, so if I go into the library, you can see these races now sit in the library, and if I can click on each one and check them, I can see all my tracks are present. You can see the timeline is looking good. I can drag my boats along the start. Let's just show that on the screen. Rounding mark 1, we come down to 2-2. Yep, back to 1, and then finish. That race is fine. Race 2. Alright, so we have got quite a bit of track before the start, so we could tune that if we wish, or we might say that's okay. If we want to tune it, what we can do is we can look at the time here. It's 1:40 before the start, and maybe we want to go to about 2:50. And if we go into the race editor and the start, we can adjust these flags. So 1:40 to 2:50. What we'll do is we'll just save and close now, and that will trim the track. And you can see now that the light grey areas around the edges of the timeline have reduced a bit. We'll go to race 3, and that's also looking fine. Now if the marks have moved from one race to the next, this is your opportunity to go into the race editor and just adjust the mark positions. Those races are all good, so let's now publish them online. So selecting race 1, I'll right click and publish it. I'm going to publish to my home page, and leaves the default options, publish it publicly so everyone can see it, and let that upload. That's done. We'll do race 2, publish. Oops, I want to publish to my home page, and next. And that's done, and race 3, publish, home page, next, next. Alright, so when that's uploaded, I can then go into the Cloud Races tab and just refresh, and we should see my new races here, race 1, 2 and 3, and I can view them online, and I'll also be able to view them from the web. And there they are, properly set up with course and marks. You can see the legs, you can see all the stats now for these races. Very good, job's done, and thanks for your attention. Cheers.